So both through the words of hymn 597, which we sang, and through the reading of the Gospel of John, we hear about that day of peace that has dimly shone throughout all the ages, throughout our scriptures. That is the hope that is written over and over in Old Testament and New Testaments and Gospels, that all of this is moving, that regardless of what's happening in our world and whatever chaos we encounter, that all is always moving towards peace. Hopefully to a day of peace when it all will be true and in reality, but still to a day of peace even if it dimly shines right now. And they're beautiful images. There was the image from the hymn, "Then shall the wolf dwell with the lamb." You should recognize, since we just read it, that came from the prophet Isaiah, where it says, "The wolf shall live with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the kid, the calf and the lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them." I was reading in my Forward Day by Day book today, and the meditation was on this passage. She had kind of conflated the words, because this says the wolf will live or dwell with the lamb, and she was telling a joke that she had heard about the wolf lying down with the lamb. And that is often what we hear about the wolf lying down with the lamb. How many of you read that this morning in the Forward Day by Day? Okay, just giving me good. I can tell the joke then. So the joke is that when the wolf lies down with the lamb won't get any sleep. And that is a joke because there's a part of us that knows that today, while that peace does dimly shine, that is all too true. That when we try to put that peace together, which has not yet reached its fullness, quite often there still is a wolf and a lamb, whether we're trying to make them lie down together or not. And the wolf still acts like a wolf, and the lamb still acts like a lamb. And that's not usually advantageous for the lamb. And we just know that that is what happens. That's why it's funny. And yet that is the image. That in the peace of God, in Hebrew the shalom, in Arabic the salam, the peace of God, that is a wholeness and a complete transformation of heart and body. So the wolfishness parts of us and the lambish parts of us have become one. And no longer does the wolf act like a wolf when there's a lamb present. And no longer is the lamb just at the mercy of the wolf. That is the peace, the wholeness, the completeness that dimly shines. And what's interesting is that this passage and the words of the hymn also remind us that it's a little child that shall lead them all to that peace. Whether it is the dimly shining peace in our own day that a little child shall lead us to, or whether it is that peace of all time, which we look at the birth of Jesus as leading us to that little child born in ordinary circumstances, leading us on. But I think when we try to bring that idea of that peace, that in a world where we divide things up between wolves and lambs, and even have parts of ourselves that are more wolfish than others, and parts of ourselves that are more lambish than others, in a world like that, with that dichotomy, we do look for a way to be able to move through that, to at least a dimly shining peace, if not the fully shining one that comes to the completion of all time. And so I think that message that a little child shall lead us is a good message. And not just thinking about it in terms of the birth of Jesus, so certainly I think it's important to think about that. But stop to think about that little child that dwells still within you. Because within each one of us, there does dwell still a little child. A little child that may have gotten covered up, may have been taught carefully not to think the things it thought or want the things it wanted or do the things it did, but a little child within each of us. I want you to think back to that little child, to a little child like a baby. My niece had a baby, only a few weeks old when we were there over Thanksgiving. And that little baby hadn't had a chance to figure out what he's not supposed to do yet. So, you know, they changed his diaper. They were shocked when, well, you know what happens when you change a baby's diaper, you know. He wasn't out to get him. He just did what boy babies do, you know. So think back to that kind of freshness of coming into the world, which we each came into the world with. And what is that like? I'd like you to just throw out some words and phrases, and I'll repeat them because I don't know whether the microphone for our people watching on YouTube will pick up from the congregation or not. But I want you to think about when you think of a little child, or a really little child, before we've had a chance to get our hands on him or her too much and change it all. What are they like as they go out into the world? What words come to your mind or phrases? Just throw it. What?
Innocence.
Innocence. There's an innocence.
Wonder.
Wonder.
Fearless.
Fearlessness.
Playful.
Playfulness.
Questioning.
Questioning.
Crying.
Crying. Without trying to even hold it back. Now I'm going to ask you to say all those things again in just a minute, okay? So remember what you said. If you said two things, that's fine. You can say them again. So what if part of the way in a world where we are all somewhat wolves and lambs from time to time, what if in that way the way to even a dim peace is to be led by that little child that you just described within each of us? What if the way to be led to dimly peace, to that peace that dimly shines, what if that looked like, what did you say?
Fearless.
What if that looked like a fearlessness? What if that looked like
Playfulness.
a playfulness? What if that looked like
Crying.
What if that looked like
Innocence.
What if that looked like
Questioning.
What if that looked like
Wonder.
So all of those things are already within us. They are reinforced in our encounter with the Christ. Because whenever we encounter the Christ, there are elements of all those things. There's the ability to cry when we need to cry. There's the ability to approach the world, the ordinary, the stable, the whatever, with wonder. There's the ability to, you said questioning, didn't you?
Fearless.
There is the call to be fearless sometimes in the face of risk. There's the call to be playful sometimes and not always so serious. What have I missed? There's the call to be what? Innocent. Questioning. All of these things. What if that is the message of the child leading us on the second Sunday of Advent to a peace that dimly shines in a world where we are quick to be as wolfish as the next, or to just fold it all up as a lamb that has no power at all? What if the way out of both the abuse of power and the abuse of powerlessness, what if that little child, that fearless, questioning, playful, awestruck, innocent, and sometimes crying little child, what if that's the way that child would lead us all? Amen.
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 We take a moment of silence.